while every family is different and every family is unique, the truth is, they're still our fam.
What's up, movement? My name is Sam, and we are in our series called Fam. And today we're going to be talking about the question, what do we do when we feel like we might be family with someone, but we're not friends? We're not friends. In those moments when we feel like we might be family with someone, but we're definitely not friends. All somebody has to do sometimes is say, go clean your room, or it's time for bed, or perhaps they even take the controller from you and you're flipping out like, I can't believe that they just did that. I know we're family cognitively. I understand that we are family, but in this moment, we are not friends. How do we get to the point where we can overcome those moments? Because I believe that we're at our best, family's at its best, when we are friends too. So today we're going to look at the story of Moses and Aaron and figure out how we can actually be friends with our family. But I want to set this up for you first. Moses and Aaron, like I said, are two brothers, and they go on a big-time mission for God. They go on a huge mission. They go on the mission to set the nation of Israel and all of its people free from slavery in Egypt. That's a big-time mission, and they're two brothers, so they need to be friends as well. So today we're going to look at Exodus chapter 6, verses 28 through 29. Let's pick up right here. It says, when the Lord spoke to Moses in the land of Egypt, he said to him, I am the Lord. Tell Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, everything I tell you. But Moses argued with the Lord. That's probably not an argument that you're going to win. When you argue with the Lord, I feel like you're going to lose that 1,000% of the time. He said, I can't do it. I'm such a clumsy speaker. Why should Pharaoh listen to me? Now, the writer of Exodus actually goes on to tell us in a different part that Moses actually did have a speech impediment. He had a lisp. He wasn't able to communicate the way that he felt he should communicate. So that's not Moses being lazy or like, hey, I'm trying to get out of this. That's just him saying, I want to be honest with you about my weakness. I want to be honest about the things that I feel are shortcomings about me. But here's a cool thing. In chapter 7, God answers back. It says this, then the Lord said to Moses, pay close attention to this. So pay close attention to this. Y'all listen up. I will make you seem like a god to Pharaoh. In other words, bigger than you are, better than you are. I'm going to make you seem like that to Pharaoh. And your brother Aaron will be your prophet. In other words, he'll speak for you. When you need a mouthpiece, when you need somebody to say something, he'll cover that for you. He'll cover your weaknesses. Tell Aaron everything I command you. And Aaron must command Pharaoh to let the people of Israel leave his country. So here's the cool thing. They go on a massive mission from God, a big-time mission to set Israel free from slavery in Egypt. And they have to be friends too. Those brothers can't afford just to be family. They can't afford to separate. They can't afford to be at odds all the time. That's a big mission. That's an important mission. They need to be friends too. So how do we get there with our family? How do we get there when we feel like, we might be family, but in these moments, we're not friends? I remember the thing you said. I remember that thing that you did that hurt my heart, that offended me. I can't see past it. How do we get to that Moses and Aaron part? Well, I think it's literally when we could separate from our family, we choose to support our family. We do exactly what Aaron did, right? Because Aaron could have went, you know what, Moses, I'm out of here. I've seen you come up with some wild ideas in your time, but this one is too much. I'm out. I've seen your temper. I remember what you did when you were younger. I'm out of here. But instead, Aaron chose to support. So that's how we get there with our families. When we could choose to separate from them, we choose to support. And my brother actually did a great job of this growing up. He was always encouraging me. He was always telling me that I could do it. Didn't matter what I came up against, if it was college, if it was sports, if it was a basketball game, he was always telling me that I could do it. He always had my back. I never had to think twice whether he would be there for me, with me, to support me. But I don't want y'all to get the wrong idea about this either and think that family just blindly supports whatever the other does. Sometimes family loves each other enough to have tough conversations. My brother had some tough conversations with me growing up as well. When I was younger, I had a really quick temper, really short temper. It wouldn't take much really to set me off. And I would justify it by thinking, well, they need to know. They need to understand how I feel. They shouldn't be allowed to say that. They shouldn't be allowed to do that. And my brother loved me enough to, instead of separate from me and say, you know what? I'm done. You've blown up one too many times. You've said this one too many times. I can't go down that path again with you. He loved me enough to have a tough conversation with me over and over and over again. And he'd say key phrases, catchphrases like, are you sure they meant it that way? Maybe you should think about it before you say something. You know what? How about you sleep on it? And if you still feel the same tomorrow morning, maybe then have a conversation with them when you're in a little bit better headspace, a little more relaxed. You know what? Let it sit for a minute and then go talk to that person. What was he doing? In those moments, he knew we were friends and he knew we were family. And instead of choosing to separate from me, he chose to support me. So y'all, that's our big step. That's our big takeaway. When we could choose to separate from our family, we're going to choose to support them. Because I believe that family is at its best when we are friends too. So the big idea that I want to leave y'all with today, the question that I want to ask you is this. This week, how can you choose to support your family instead of separate from them? How can you choose this week to, instead of separating from your family, support your family? And I realize as soon as I ask that question, tons of questions are going to come up. Tons of emotions are going to flood your heart and your mind and your brain. It's going to be like a flood in your mind. You're going to think, well, should I still support them if? And what if they? And how come they always? You're going to start to fill in those blanks and think, how in the world can I support them? What does that look like for me? And I'm glad that's going to come into your mind, because I want to invite you out to Movement on Sunday mornings at 10:30 or at 10 and 11:30. We do small groups every single week in order to tackle questions like that. Life is too precious to be lived alone, and this is too big of a concept to just think about and keep to yourself. So we've got small group leaders here willing to help you answer those questions of what it looks like for you to support your family instead of separate from your family. I understand that questions are going to come into your mind as soon as you think, okay, but how do I actually do that? When do I know to have a tough conversation? How do I go about that? Should I let them just keep on doing what they're doing? Or should I have an encouraging conversation with them? What should I do? So that's why we do small groups here at Movement. That's why we are on a mission each and every single week to move you from where you are to where God wants you to be. And that's not saying that you're in a bad place or you're deficient in your growth. That's just saying, hey, we understand that life is tough. We understand that everyone wants to grow. And that's what God wants for us as well, because family is too great of an advantage. Family is too big of a deal to get wrong. And we want to give you every possible resource to get family right. So I want to invite you out again at 10 or 11:30. Come hang out with us in room 405 right here. We're going to have lights going. We're going to have games on all of our screens. We're going to have games all throughout the room. We're going to have a great message. And then we're going to break out into some small groups to help you answer the question, what do I do when I feel like I might be family with this person, but I'm definitely not friends with them? How do I support my family this week instead of choosing to separate from them?